So somehow January is already over and you still haven't started on your goal of becoming a content creator this year. While you might be feeling like giving up, trust me, it's not too late to start. This year did not get off to a productive start for me, so personally, I'm getting started on my 2026 goals in February. So I thought I'd show you my slow New Year's reset for creators. Gentle and intentional steps that don't require you to have it all figured out before the clock strikes midnight on January 1st, but just as effective at helping you reach your goals this year. My hard drive situation currently is a mess. The other day I tried to import footage for my next YouTube video and I literally couldn't because there's only 2 gigabytes of space left on here. Something needs to be done. For me, a New Year's reset has to include file organization, not only because I'm a nerd about folder structure, but because my hard drives are always full. 3.6 gigabytes available. Ooh, out of a 2 terabyte hard drive. This is rough. Okay, so obviously I have a bunch of different folders, but the YouTube one is what I wanted to show you. So I have it organized by year and then by month. The raw footage is inside folders that are numbered sequentially. So every year I start fresh from video number 1 of the year and then I just count up. Then within each folder, we've got a folder for A-roll, one for B-roll. This is for the stuff that Isabel, my editor, added when she was working on it. It makes it really easy for me to go back and find the raw footage from a video if I ever want to use it again. I just really think more creators need to be thinking about the content they create as an asset to their business, like one that has an actual monetary value. Like if you're leaving everything in your desktop and downloads folder, that would be like a restaurant owner leaving food out instead of putting it away in the fridge. It just goes to waste. Let me tell you a quick story to illustrate my point. Back in November, I had a brand reach out to me that I had worked with previously that wanted to use a reel that I made in the past for a Black Friday campaign. The only thing was I needed to edit it down from 1 minute long to like 15 seconds. And I was able to do that because I have everything stored so meticulously. It wasn't difficult for me to go back, find those files, and I made $4,000 off of that. Okay, not bad for like a couple hours of work. But that would have been impossible if I wasn't storing my files like this. So file organization is worth investing in. However, this obsessive approach to file storage has left me in a position where literally all of my hard drives are completely full. So to remedy that, I got a NAS. Not Lil Nas X. NAS stands for Network Attached Storage, and you can kind of think of it like a cross between a giant hard drive and Google Drive. Basically, you own the physical storage the files are on, but you can access them through the internet. That's the network part in the name. I've been thinking about getting a NAS for ages, so I was stoked when Synology reached out and wanted to send me one to try out. So thank you so much, Synology. You made my dreams come true. Not gonna lie, figuring out what I needed for this setup was pretty intimidating. I did a ton of research, but once I actually had all the components, it was actually pretty easy to set it up physically, like from the hardware perspective. The hardest part of this all was transferring all of the footage that I had on my old hard drives, which took me like 4 straight days. Like, now that it's all set up, I can access my files from any computer, from anywhere in the world. Using the Synology app, I can even get them on my phone. It's all on one system. So satisfying. So yes, even though I didn't get this all set up until the end of January, now it's gonna make the rest of my year so much easier. While this isn't directly related to being a content creator, I feel like establishing healthy routines is foundational in achieving any big goal that you might have. First and foremost, I always want you to be taking care of yourself, both physically and mentally, so that you can be your most productive, creative self. One part of that for me is having a reliable morning routine. I want to wake up early as I can manage, given the fact that the sun doesn't come up until like 7:45 a.m. This time of year is so hard, guys. So I'm still depending on my Christmas lights to get me through those dark mornings. I like to make a healthy breakfast and spend some time reading. I'm really trying to not scroll as much in the mornings, but I'm certainly not perfect. It's very hard to avoid. I usually spend my first probably 10 to 15 minutes of being awake each day scrolling on my phone. It's a habit that I should kick, but once I'm out of bed, I try to focus on these healthy habits like eating my eggs, getting some movement in, reading my book. Other than my morning routine, I'm also a big fan of meal prepping my lunches. Even though I work from home, I like meal prepping lunches as if I was going into an office and had to pack a lunch, because this means that I don't have to take time out of my workday to cook. All I have to do is heat up my stew, and I've got a protein and fiber packed lunch. We love it. Okay, I'm also on a tiny bit of a fitness journey at the moment. Don't tell anyone. Why is it so embarrassing to admit that you're like trying to prioritize your physical health? I don't know, something embarrassing about it. But for real though, I'm actually enjoying going to spin classes lately. I found a local studio that is just such a kind, supportive environment. And the themes, okay? It's all about the themes. This is my thing. If you go to a spin class or any other type of like sort of cardio workout, it's gotta be good music. It makes a huge difference. And I guess I'm also trying to focus on strength training a bit at home too. I got myself some dumbbells and a kettlebell. I guess with my 30th birthday coming up this year, I'm just starting to think about how I want to set myself up for a healthy adulthood in the long run. I wouldn't say that I've like felt the effects of aging or anything like that yet, but I'm just aware of the importance of like muscle strength, bone density, and just knowing that I want to keep going on adventures for a really long time. So I want to try to set myself up with good routines now that I can sustain throughout life to keep me in good working order. The new year is also a great time to organize your gear. My gear cabinet has gotten completely out of hand and it needed a major clean out. The only way to do that is to take everything out, reevaluate, and then try to put it back in a more orderly fashion. Maybe this is weird, but I kind of love a good reorganization. Like, give me a good podcast, give me a good audiobook, and I will happily pull all the clothes out of my closet, go through them, put them back in, reorganize my kitchen drawers, whatever it is. I do find it to be a very satisfying process, but you do need a good chunk of time to set aside to really get into it. Okay, after some thorough and much needed work, I'm excited to show you my newly organized gear cabinet. Just as a reminder, my gear cabinet is just part of my like TV sort of console, which is from IKEA. We've got a bin of cables, like any USB cable you could possibly want. We got C, we got A, we got micro USB hard drives, which is kind of a bit of a relic now. These are all basically backups since I now have my NAS. And on the side, I've just got a couple mobile gimbals and their accessories. On the next layer, we mostly have tripods. I have so many different types of tripods in here, and they're basically just sitting on top of this audio equipment bin that also probably needs to clean out at some point, but hey, we're doing our best. Down here in this drawer, this is where I keep my sort of daily easy to grab stuff. So we've got my Sony cameras and lenses that I use all the time. And finally, this bottom drawer is a bit of a new development. This is kind of my action camera center now. I've got my case for my Insta360 cameras, and this bin just has like a million different GoPro mounts. Honestly, it feels amazing to have achieved this level of organization. Every time I went in to get a camera before, it was stressful, but now it's nicely reset and ready for the new year. As a content creator, ultimately, you're in control. You are in control of the content you make, of the brands that you work with, of what you share or don't share online. The reason why I was thinking about this is because lately I've had a couple frustrations with some brand deals, like nothing that's that big of a deal, just, you know. Sometimes, especially when you're working with brands or you have clients in like any kind of creative job, you feel really beholden to their requests. And look, this is a tricky thing because I am going to be the first person to say that like professionalism and being pleasant and easy to work with is essential to succeed as a content creator. But I think there's a fine line between that and like being taken advantage of. Like when a brand is blatantly asking for something that's outside of the contract, extra revisions, second piece of content, usage rights that they didn't pay for. I'm such a people pleaser that I want to be able to just agree, but I think it's important to remind yourself that you're in charge here. You don't have to say yes to everything that a brand asks for. I think for so much of my career, I've just really felt like the brands were in the position of power here because obviously, you know, I want the brand deals, I want to get paid. But I think it's important to remember the leverage that we have as creators because obviously if a brand is reaching out to you, it's because they want to reach your audience. So maybe 2026 is about unlearning our people-pleasing tendencies. I think on that same note, in the way that you're not beholden to the requests of brands, you also don't have to be beholden to the requests of your audience. I know. The reason why I've been thinking about this more lately is because with everything going on Instagram especially, I've seen so much discourse around basically sharing your political beliefs, which if it wasn't obvious already, guys, Trump. Like a lot of people are met with responses like, keep politics out of this, just go back to posting your regular content. To me, how it almost sounds is like, I don't want you talking about this because it makes me uncomfortable, not because like I can actually prove that you're incorrect. Right. Again, if you're at all a people pleaser like myself, then it's so scary to like just have disagreements en masse. And I feel like I used to really feel like that, but sometime last year, I kind of just decided like, why am I censoring myself? Like, this really doesn't make sense. Like, I feel strongly about stuff. I'm gonna share about it to my Instagram story or whatever. And the thing about being a self-employed content creator is like, no one can stop me. And if there's brands that don't want to work with me afterwards, then like maybe I didn't want their money anyway. Even outside of like heated stuff like politics, I think that we are all constantly negotiating like how much we listen to audience feedback versus how much we just share from the heart creatively what we're passionate about. And I feel like I've even run into that too in the past with making vlogs. Like I have gotten very specific comments from people on my YouTube videos before that are like, I don't give a shit about your vlogs, like don't make them. It's like, well, first of all, rude. I don't know about you guys, but like when a creator posts something that I'm not as interested in compared to their regular stuff, I don't take time to go and comment on it saying that I don't want to see that. I just don't watch it, and that's fine. Other people will. But I think for me anyway, it's important to create stuff even if it's not going to do the kind of numbers that my other content might, because it inspires me, it pushes me to learn new things, it gives me the opportunity to try out new gear or new filming techniques. I guess I just think like the beauty of being a content creator is being self-employed and all of the wonderful things that come along with that. If you don't separate yourself from those external forces a little bit, if you just completely do what everybody is asking of you, brands, audience, algorithm, it ends up just kind of being a 9 to 5 anyway. So yeah, in 2026 as creators, we're gonna remember, we're in the driver's seat. This is your business. You can say yes or no to things as you see fit. Are there always gonna be, you know, business or like financial consequences to each of those decisions? Yes. But I think we make them, you know, logically, understanding our own values, creative priorities, and hopefully it leads to a more sort of aligned strategy overall. Reaching our biggest goals, I think, always comes back to this balance between pushing yourself and being gentle with yourself. I'm not gonna lie and say that you can reach all of your biggest goals in life by going easy on yourself. I got to where I am now through a lot of hustle and hard work. However, I don't think that hustle is a sustainable approach in the long term. You need to give yourself moments of rest in order to maintain that energy. I really believe in cycles of growth, maintenance, and rest. And for me, over the holidays and into the beginning of the year, that was maintenance mode. That was me doing the bare minimum to keep the lights on while I was living life and doing all this family stuff. Now, I'm obsessed with a fresh start. Like January 1st is probably one of my favorite days of the year because I love making plans. I love setting new routines. But the way that my life played out this year meant that January 1st was not optimal for a fresh start. And that's okay. We're at peace with that. You still haven't started on your goals for this year. Don't give up on yourself now. We can do this as a team. I have enough motivation for the two of us. So stick with me, make sure you're subscribed, and I promise we will both crush our creator goals this year. Speaking of that, if you watched to this point in the video, hand hearts everywhere. You are basically my bestie. I really appreciate you watching this one. And yeah, just say hi in the comments because I'd love to chat with you down there. I appreciate that you watched one of my vlogs. As always, I hope that you're having adventures and following your dreams, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!